Peace family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to my chosen ones about you will have to practice these techniques you are learning. This knowledge and information you download, whether from here in this channel or from the other channels or any other outside sources you have. You know what I'm saying? You will have to apply these tactics. You will have to test them. You know, so what brought me to this subject today is I was running tests. There's always tests being ran. So in the process of running these tests, you know, the more and more you do something, the better you become. So if you are taking the time out of your busy life to process how you're engaging with some of the same beings you always engage with, because I know a lot of us are still engaging with some of the same beings, whether via phone call, in person, jobs, whatever. A lot of our engagements are with same, similar, familiar energy, you know. And we do have our randoms thrown in there of us engaging with beings that we don't know. But for the most part, you know what the beings are that you're engaging with. I'm not talking for the special cases where somebody does sales and that's all they do is engage with new beings, you know. But for the most part, you have to test these things out because you don't know, for one, if the information is valid, and for two, if these tactics are even helpful for you. That was one way that I was able to kind of use this third-party technology to kind of help me in my ascension, because before I was up here, I used to watch people, and I still do tap into a lot of channels, you know. But I used to spend a lot of time listening and feeding myself different knowledge and information, and it always felt good taking it in, learning something new. But I'm like a little human at heart when it comes to wanting to try out new things. So since this wasn't a new toy or a new game or like a new car or a new tool or something to use, this was spiritual tools, you know. So the way you test them out are differently. You have to do it spiritually. So when you are engaging with these beings that you're around, after you're done taking this information, test them. Put it on the table. See what you have learned. You know what I'm saying? Even if you know that they aren't progressing, continuously do, especially if you're in a living situation. Like for me, I understood as I got older, even though that wasn't the concept when I was younger. We used to sit around as a family and watch horror movies, Tales from the Crypt, Freddy Krueger, Jason, all the scary shit that was out. We used to do it as a family. And to this day, I use that as a dojo, a way to create a simulation of conjuring up that energy and motion and learning how to maneuver it and you know, master it. I don't like to say control it, but master it, you know. If you're watching horror movies and you feel like you're always scared or fearful, this is a way to face it without you actually having to deal with scary shit in real lifetime. And a lot of people stray away from it, but it's like, why not just sit down and use that as a test lab? You know what I'm saying? Like, why put yourself out there in a dumbass engagement with like some employees, or like when you got your supervisors in place, or like some weird shit where you run into the law or some shit, like, or just some crazy shit with some regular beings, and it just became a really chaotic, scary situation. You know what I'm saying? Test yourself. You have to test yourself, and then you test the beings around you, you know? Like I had gave an example before, like there was some company that had came by the house before, and somebody was saying like they thought that the being could have been like possibly an untrustworthy person just because they're like, they have tendencies or whatever. But I know it's not a big amount, but big or small, you know, it's still a test, you know. And I just had like some change or something. I was taking out my pocket, just a couple like the change and then a couple loose bills, and it was like a $5 bill I just left sitting on the table where my TV and the game console sits at. Shit stayed there all night, overnight, next day, not touched, not a thing. You know what I'm saying? That was a physical, subtle test of, you know, somebody saying that this being could possibly take some things, possibly not. They never said they did or they was going to, but the way they put the energy out there was, you know how some people communicate, reading between the lines. I'm more direct, and instead of me going back and forth with that being, I just tested the other being myself. They never touched it, so then I was able to place my own perception and perspective on that being, opposed from the picture that somebody else was trying to paint for me. You know what I'm saying? And it's no different than testing the beings that you living in with, which I was getting ready to say earlier. Is like if you live in the house with them, spouses, siblings, moms, dads, aunts, uncles, cousins, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? I know some of us are still in the house, whether we're helping them or they're helping us. You know, the Western world is really witchy, and we are trying to do it by the best means possible, you know? So, but you test them motherfuckers too, you know what I'm saying? So that way you can figure out, okay, some of us already know, all right, boom, my mom and dad are really high on the spectrum. I can push them all the way over there with the oppositions. I don't have to test them anymore. But I'm not so sure about my cousins or my sisters and my brothers. So then you have to test them as well too. You know, if you're not testing these beings and you're not taking these certain precautions to even making sure that the knowledge that you're taking in is helping you, then what are you doing it for? You know, it's almost like watching the Kardashians or just some weird TV show that we don't even need to be watching, you know, that's just not feeding us anything useful. And when we are watching the useful things, we are not applying it. So then you got a bunch of tools to build a house, but they just sitting beside you. You know what I'm saying? You're not even building. You looking at everybody else building. Talking about, oh yeah, man, I wish I could be building. Yes, get your ass up and start testing out the products. You got all this material over here. You got to see if this shit is going to hold up if you don't know. You done read the manual and the directions, but you still have to test it out and try it yourself. The manual doesn't do it for you. The manual will not do it for you. So it's always good to watch and to listen and to feed yourself this way, to feed yourself this way, and to feed yourself this way. You know, it's always important to be mindful of those things. But if you're not testing them out, then you're not knowing what's working for you. You're not even knowing if you're taking in helpful information because you ain't trying it out. You don't know. So when I hear somebody talk about certain beings like to gossip. Now, let's just say I'm at the beginning of my journey. You know, these kind of beings like to gossip, and they are energy vampires and they'll drain you, blah, blah, blah. So then what I would have to do is, the next time I'm around a group of people or a peer or somebody, I would automatically pull that information from that video to the forefront. Boom, that's on the table. Now while I'm engaging with this being, I'm seeing what they choose to communicate about. It doesn't matter how I let them direct the conversation. I'll follow their flow just because I want to test them. Doesn't matter. They could be talking about the grass is green, watermelon is purple. As long as you just let them lead the flow and you test and to see, okay, well, this shit isn't going anywhere. Okay, this is just extreme. This vibration is low. Okay, it's going this way. It's not going this way. Okay, what they're saying isn't helping me. It's not warm. It's not wanting to hug me. What it's doing is repelling me. It's making me want to do the opposite. If you don't test the beings around you, then you're not going to know what you're in the mix of, you know? So, and we already know it's a lot of witchy motherfuckers out here. So the least you could do, and the witchy shit, like I say with everything, I have to say it with the witchy shit. The witchy shit is on a spectrum. You know, some people can be full out on the team, 99%. Some people are on the fucking team, 51%. I don't like to say less than 50% with the opposition, because if you're taking any percentage over there, motherfucker, it's our 0 is their 50. So the way that shit is set up over there, we do stuff and things for self, but we don't do things with evil intentions or ill intentions. And we are considerate of the beings around us if and when we are making selfish decisions that's pertaining to us or the outcome that we would like. We're not putting our needs in front of everybody else's detriment. We're not stepping on somebody else's neck so we can feel better. You know, we're not stepping on somebody else's ankle so we can get another edge up on them. You know what I'm saying? That's not how we vibrate. And that's why we say it's important to make sure you testing whatever information. You know, it's a lot of places out here that's serving information. So you have to test it, trial and error, you know what I'm saying? And yes, you will have your energy in motion when you're in some of these spaces. But that's the whole point of practicing trial and error and testing, you know? You want to test yourself and you want to test the beings around you, you know what I'm saying? That's the best way that I would relay the information as far as some protection tools. You know, this isn't in a way to attack. This is a chess move that's strictly protection. Protection. When we get to the swords and the attack, we'll get there. But right now, I'm one of them beings. I'm very balanced when it comes to certain things. So I would much rather be awesome at defense and then learn how to shoot the ball or score the ball from there. Learn how to defend first. Become a great defender. Testing the spirits out. Defense. Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.